All right, this is the little curly piece here. I'm working on the flower on the left, the dominant flower here in the foreground. One right now that we just picked up not too long ago, and it is already dying. So this is not a good environment for orchids in my house. Right now it's trying to figure out what's important. Is it my hand important, or are the marks on the paper important? Let's see actually what happened here. It should be down a little bit further and maybe a little bit bigger, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to go back and change it. Kind of shape there. And I'm going to gently start applying the colored pencil. Now, we're going to want to build up layers right on top of that pink. Again, cautiously here at the beginning. Now, you have to be patient throughout this whole process. A lot of people will expect immediate results, really. All right, I'm also going to increase the contrast between this little piece that comes out and the inside part of this piece here. But I'm going to exaggerate that a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of a risk and add just a slight bit of yellow-green down here. Now, when I mean a slight bit, I mean... Now, just by grazing over the top of some of these marks, you're going to create some of those interesting textures that happen anyway in the flower. Here, with the crimson red, the pencil we used earlier, I'm just going to create a few areas down here where it's just a little bit varied in color before I start putting those purple veins on there that are behind them. And it might be hard to see now, but in our finished drawing, it'll make a huge difference. And in any area where you might need to exaggerate some of those lines of contrast, you can do that. So I'm going to do that. And it's going to really make things just pop out. You know what I mean? It's going to really make things stand out. And I want those marks to help create the illusion of the form of the petals. So that's why I'm trying to follow the cross contour lines on the petal. And again, I'm going to still think about the cross contour lines here. So I'm not going to just kind of haphazardly make marks. Now this particular petal right here is got quite a bit of purple on here, quite a bit of violet. Now the reason I'm following this methodology is one, it works pretty well for what I'm trying to create here, and two, it matches what I did on this side. You don't want to going to exaggerate things just a little bit right up here. I want this petal to look like it's closer than this one, and right now it does because it overlaps, but I'm going to kind of push that contrast just a little bit further. So I'm going to do that. This is a drawing, and as the artist, you want to look for areas that you can exploit to either create more space or make some more interesting colors, or, just elaborate a little bit. And just a little bit of a stronger application of purple on this one. And you wouldn't think that these subtle little marks that you put down would be so important, but they are important. And go with the purple here. It's a little bit darker on the bottom portion of the petal, and purple is a little bit of a darker color and value. So I'm going to be a little bit heavier handed with the purple on the underside part of the petal. Now now that we've got some purple and some pink on here, I'm going to burnish that in and just tone that color down a little bit. You may find that you like the intensity of the color once you put it down, and you don't want to really burnish it in too much. And I'm just going to create a little bit more contrast between this petal and the first petal that we did tonight with the purple. Okay, I should point this out here. In my sketch here, in my drawing, my line drawing, it's a little bit different than what's happening in the photo reference. And I see there's kind of a smaller petal here, and then there's a larger petal behind it, but that's not how I drew my image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an adjustment, and I'm going to kind of keep what I've drawn here, because it's not going to make sense to change this now on my drawing. In fact, I risk possibly having some of these lines underneath show through, and I don't want to take that risk. So I'm going to treat. And there's definitely a lighter edge at the top, so I'm not going to put as much pressure there. And we're going to put a little bit of contrast behind this petal, even though this petal's not complete yet. If you're just joining us this evening, which I see a couple people are, now you can, in our photo reference, the orchid itself, the flower itself, the petals and all that stuff is in focus, and some of these areas down here are a little blurred. You can help create more of a focus on the flowers by putting less detail in these areas if you want. All right. And of course, if the brown is not working for you and you need to make it a little bit darker, you can layer some blue on top of that. You can really control your shadows. You can make them warmer or cooler depending on what you're after in your drawing. Pop out a little bit more. And of course, as someone suggested it before, you can use a little bit of terpenoid or mineral spirits and move some of this pigment around and make the application a little bit solid if you want to. I kind of like the textured surface in the background. I kind of like it being a drawing. So I got one last